Welcome back, guys. Today we're looking at a 1961 Corvette. We're gonna go inside. It's a little windy here today, and we're gonna talk with the owner, Ralph Ridge of Rocky Mountain Ridge Quality Car Restorations of Cape Coral, Florida. Okay, we're back inside out of the wind. I'm here with Ralph Ridge. He's the owner of this beautiful 61 fuel injected Resto Mod Corvette. Now, you say you owned the car for 31 years?
Yes, sir. I bought it in 1994. It was in a body shop without a front end with the original motor, and the body shop finished it off, and I assembled the car to NCRS standards and achieved an NCRS Top Flight award with it. Then I started driving it, and I drove it to Sun Valley, Idaho, and where I got my first award, sportsman award with it. And since then I've driven the car probably 60,000 miles or more. It's been to the West Coast, the East Coast, up into Canada, and down as far as Galveston, Texas. And then I had a problem where the radiator was not heating enough, so the original fuel injection engine was too valuable to leave in. So I put this over-the-counter ramjet fuel injected engine in about 2015, and then about 2 years later, when I had loaned it to some friends from New Zealand, they were over in Tennessee and were rear-ended by a semi, crushed the car up to the back seat. I took my trailer, went over to Tennessee, retrieved the car, brought it home. Fortunately, our friends just had head cuts, no life-threatening injuries, but the car was DOA. So I worked for about a year with an attorney, and we finally made a settlement with a trucking company to where I could reassemble the car. However, it now morphed into what you see today, Resto Mod, because the original frame was pretzeled. And so now it has a tube chassis underneath. It has C4 Corvette suspension with coilovers. It has a Dana 44 rear end. And then I recently took the Tremec 5-speed out and put the automatic transmission in that's in it now, because I have a prosthesis that I can't shift gears. So the automatic allows me to continue to drive it, which I do quite a bit. It's a fun car to drive. It's not a car that we take very far anymore because it does not have air conditioning. I tried that earlier, and the problem there is the top doesn't fit tight enough to retain the cool air, so that was just a waste of time and money.
Going back to your friend driving this and having the accident, what was that phone call for them like, to call you and tell you that your top flight 1961 car had just been smacked by a semi and was totally out of commission?
Well, first off, they didn't have a US phone. They only had a phone that worked to New Zealand. So they called their daughter in New Zealand, and their daughter called us in Colorado, where we lived at the time, to relay that what had happened, and gave us a phone number of the emergency room where they were. So we called them and talked to them in the emergency room, and the gal, the wife of the gentleman who was driving, was just totally distraught. And took them 2 days to get back home because they were in such a remote area in Tennessee, and it was a weekend. And when she walked off the jetway in Denver, when I met them coming back, she just collapsed in my arms and just started crying.
I could imagine. I could imagine.
Anyhow, we brought it back from the dead, and it is what it is today, and it's a lot of fun to drive. It now has power steering, power brakes, disc brakes.
I see you added the third tail light back here.
Yes, sir. When you do a Resto Mod, it's like an artist with a blank canvas. You basically can do what you want or what you think would be appropriate. And the 6 taillights was something that the West Coasters did back in the 60s. And it was a fad for a while, and then it kind of went away. And I kind of liked it because I put LED lights with sequential flashers in there. And then I put the little lip on the back, which gave me room for a 67 backup light above the license plate frame. However, that removed the key lock to open the trunk, so I put a remote electric release on the trunk lid.
Can you show us that?
Certainly. I put the button for it in the center, under the center console, and the button is actually what they use on release deck lids on C4 Corvettes. Everything I put on here is Corvette. So this now is electronic release, and then there was originally in these cars a spare tire tub underneath here. I took that out. This is a flat floor which is reinforced, and then because I removed the spare, I put run flat tires on the car so I don't need a spare, and that gave me room to put Flowmaster mufflers underneath, and the tips I put on are C3 Corvette, early C3 Corvette exhaust tips. So again, I maintained the Corvette theme on all of the add-ons on the car.
And these wheels, they're American racing wheels?
They're American racing, but they're 17-inch to clear the C4 calipers, and the only ones in that style you could get were gray. I didn't like the gray, so I stripped them. I had the black inner spokes powder-coated black, gloss black, and polished the outer rims to get the effect I wanted. And then we powder-coated the calipers. Those are C4 calipers, powder-coated in red. The headlights are halos around them, and I found those that fit right into the original T3 headlight buckets. So when I turn the ignition on, the halo lights come on and stay on whenever the car is running. Turn signals are LEDs. All the lights in the car are LEDs.
Now, what engine is in here now? Obviously, this isn't the original 61 Fuelie.
This is a General Motors Ramjet 350. It's an over-the-counter engine. It's 350 cubic inches, and it's 400 pound-feet of torque. And it's a very early torque band coming on, and goes straight up and just maintains a high torque, very torquey motor.
What's the horsepower rating on it?
It's 350.
350.
350 cubic inches.
Now the power assisted brakes, what is that off of?
That is an aftermarket kit that allows you to put on a power booster and utilize the original master cylinder. And when we put the rack and pinion steering, you can see the universal joint knuckle going down to the rack and pinion. we cut the steering column off right below the VIN tag because I wanted to maintain the original VIN tag on this car. Also, the frame on this original car had the VIN derivative stamped on it, and we cut that out of the original frame, which was not usable, and welded that VIN tag onto this frame. It has hooker ceramic coated headers, what they call hugger headers, to give you the room in this engine bay. And then it's just a normal fan on the radiator. It's not electric fans. This car runs very cool. It mostly around 180, sometimes on a hot day in idling conditions it'll get up to 190, and that's about it. I changed out the wiper motor. The original wiper motor sat in this valley right here, and it was not that reliable because it used drums and cables, and they tended to stretch and not work very well. So this is aftermarket. It's all underneath the dash now with rods and the motor under there, and even has intermittent wipers and washers to go with it.
Now the interior, that looks pretty well stock.
It looks stock, but the seats are the Alnock, what he calls the AOK seats. They're leather to begin with. This interior originally was all vinyl. The seats are leather, and those seats have a deeper bowl in the bottom and a deeper dish in the back. They are movable up and back. The seats will tilt, and it gives me more leg room. I'm a tall guy, so I needed it. They advertise 4 inches more leg room, pretty close to that. But anyhow, I also put the Alnock leather stitched dash in. Originally that was vinyl. So everything in here now has been switched over. They're Alnock door panels, which are pretty original. The top is what they call stay fast materials, not canvas, and it works pretty well. The steering wheel, because I now have power steering, the steering wheel is a smaller diameter steering wheel, gives you more room to get in and out, leather wrapped. But it appears as the original steering wheels did with the center spokes.
Well, I know the 61 steering wheels, you couldn't be 5 pounds overweight because you never get in there.
No, they didn't have power steering, so they needed the big diameter steering wheel for the mechanical advantage of the driver to actually turn the steering. All of the instruments are original except the tachometer. With this engine, I had to go to an electronic tachometer.
The originals came with the tach drive and the distributor, correct?
That's correct. The original Fuelie had a dual tach setup. One side would drive the tachometer, the other side would drive your high pressure pump on the fuel injection unit. So now this engine comes with its own distributor, and now you have a small computer. It's very compact. Normally they have these huge computers, but this little guy right here is the computer for this engine. That's all there is. Now this is early generation ramjet, and it did not have O2 sensors, so it ran open loop. The ones today use oxygen sensors to give it better emission control, I guess. But there were also some relays that I mounted back behind that power steering booster out of the way.
What year is this motor?
It's about a 2017, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
15 to 17, somewhere around there. It's been an excellent little motor. I've never had any issues. I've probably got 50,000-60,000 miles on this motor now, and doesn't burn oil, runs strong.
Well, the paint on this is a 2-stage urethane?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually single stage with color in the clear coat.
And what rear end do you have in this?
It's a Dana 44 rear end. It is the IRS independent rear suspension.
Okay, so it's not the straight axle that came originally in the car?
That's correct. And it handles really well. We were over at Sebring a couple weeks ago. We took this car and we took my C8 over there, and they were both entered in the Corvette Corral.
Now, is that something by invitation, or is that something that you...
That's something that is available to Corvette owners, that you pay to get in the corral, and once it's full, then you can't get in anymore. But General Motors sponsors it, puts it together, and they do a really nice job. They have a tent there, and they provide lunch, light breakfast and a lunch every day. And they have they did a generational photo where they picked one car from each generation and lined them up below a big Chevrolet banner, and they picked this car to represent the C1 generation.
Beautiful.
And then on Thursday, Thursday or Friday, we got to go out on the track, and we did 3, they called them parade laps, but we had probably close to 100 Corvettes out there, and I was tail end Charlie. If you've ever been in a line of cars like that with that many, you know the bungee effect. And so you're bunched up, and then all of a sudden everybody's gone in front of you. You could take off, and I hit 100 a couple times, and the car just cornered beautifully. There was a C4 in front of me, and when we were doing the hard acceleration, I had to back off because he wasn't keeping up. But
well, it certainly is a beautiful car. Now, your Rocky Mountain
Ridge Inc. is my business. I've restored, gosh, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 cars. I've done Bloomington Gold cars. I've done Duntov cars. I just enjoy working on these cars. I have a son and a grandson who both enjoy coming over and helping Grandpa. And I've got a car on the lift right now. I'm working for a gentleman, and then I've got some pictures on the wall back there of cars that I have restored. The one above the color is a 56 that I did, and there's an article there to the right, that article, Arctic Blue Persuasion, that was in a magazine. It mentions, it was in the Vette magazine, mentions my name as a restorer. Sold that car at Bloomington, or I'm sorry, Barrett Jackson, and it did quite well. And there's a 55 that I restored, and that was serial number 3, and I did Bloomington Gold with that car, and it is now in a collection over in the East Coast. And I've done several Corvettes and worked on some other cars also, but mostly Corvettes.
Is this your C8?
Yes, sir. This guy, it's a 23. I ordered him new, spec'd him out the way I wanted it. He's been on a couple road tours. He's going to go again this summer. It's got the black and red interior in it, and it's got the stripes over the top and things like that that I like. So
I'm guessing your favorite color is black?
I think you guessed right. You know, I think it's the prettiest car in black, but they're a bugger to keep clean. Oh, the license plate on the front of the 61 here is from a Motorama tour that the Corvette Museum had. And it was back around 2012 or so. And they picked one car, again, from every generation. You entered your car, and they picked the cars, and they picked this car for the C1s. We all went to Bowling Green. We queued up there. They had a nice dinner for us, and then the next day we drove to St. Louis and under the arch, and then we went to places like Corvette Central and Old Tire Rack and all kinds of places, and ended up in General Motors headquarters in Detroit. And we got to go and have dinner at the where they have all their cars that were one of demonstration cars, where they call them. Anyhow, then the next morning they hosted us all at the GM headquarters right there on the river in Detroit, and Bob Lutz came in and talked to us, and then they had the unveiling of the Bolt. That was when the Bolt first came out, which it was a huge production. Here's a picture I have of the car. That was taken over, I think, gosh, I don't remember, but it's the Corvette assembly plant in St. Louis.
Certainly is a beautiful car with an interesting story. And you are a retired airline pilot, I understand.
Yes, sir. I retired from United Airlines, 747 captain. I was a check airman with them also. And after I retired, and that was age 60, mandatory retirement, I wasn't ready to sit in a rocking chair. I started doing these restorations. That was 2002. And then one of my customers had a Beech King Air F90 and asked me to do some part-time flying, and then they bought a Learjet 55. He had never flown jets, so he and I went to school, and I helped him through the school, and then did part-time flying. And I actually flew up until about 2019, and then decided that 23,000 hours in the air and never been any sheet metal, or it was time to hang it up.
What brought you into the Corvette, the love of the Corvette?
I was in school in 1962 in college, in junior college, and someone drove in a brand new 62 Corvette that was in a almond color, which is kind of rare. And I looked at that car, and of course I had no money. I was in school, and I said, someday I will have something like that. And I got my first Corvette, and when I was 49 years old. I'm 82 now, and since then I've owned over 20 different Corvettes. So it's been a passion, it's been a hobby, it's been a business. And this car will never be sold, it will never leave the family. It's part of our family. It's got a family heirloom, for lack of a better word, I guess.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me into your home and business here to take a look at this and to share this car and its story and your story. Beautiful car, beautiful car.
Thank you.
So guys, if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit the share. You're going to help me out, and we'll continue to bring these interesting vehicles to your house and to your TV or computer or phone or however you watch these videos. So appreciate your time, and we'll see you again.